guys, welcome to Files. We'll be covering Sarah Grace Patrick, who is the 17-year-old who was recently arrested for the unaliving of her mom and stepdad. Sean has most of the details of this case, so he is going to be talking about the case, and I'm going to be just kind of asking questions, and you guys can ask questions. So, Sean, like I said, he's been digging into this case. Go ahead and tell them what you know about this case.
I have like a little introduction and everything written out, and this is the first time that she's hearing some of this information. In the small, quiet town of Carrollton, Georgia, on the morning of February 20th, a 911 call came in from a 17-year-old female reporting that her mother, Kristen Brock, and her stepfather, James Brock, had both been shot to death inside their home while they were sleeping. Investigators immediately began treating the case as a double homicide. It would take police almost 5 months to make an arrest. On July 8, 2025, the police would arrest Sarah Grace Patrick for 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. I'm Sean, this is Elle, and we're going to cover the case of Sarah Grace Patrick. So, starting off, the first section, I broke down like the scene where the crime took place. So the address was 1531 Tice Carrollton Road.
And can I just interrupt to say we're not doxing them? When a murder happens at an address, it becomes a very public address. So this address is out there in every article, every outlet that's talking about this. They say the address. Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyways, this is a little video of like me zooming in on Google Maps just to kind of show where the address is and show that it's kind of off in a remote area. This is Tice Carrollton Road. And the next thing I have is like pictures of the house being shown.
And the house is important because the house is a very small house. It's like 1,500 square feet, 1,900 square feet. So these are pictures of the house because Sarah Grace said she did not hear the gunshot. So everybody went to bed the night before. Sarah, her sister, who was 5 at the time, and the stepdad and the mom. Everybody goes to bed. And the next day, the 5-year-old wakes up and finds her mom and dad deceased. The 5-year-old, this was her
pretty much from the beginning.
Mom and dad. The 5-year-old, this was her mom and dad. Now, Sarah Grace, this was her mom and her stepdad. So when they wake up, the little girl goes in there and she sees that mom and dad has obviously been killed, right? So she goes and she gets Sarah. Sarah calls the cops. And that's why the fact that the house is such a small house is important because Sarah says she did not hear gunshots. Even though the house is very small and considering they were both shot, she should have heard gunshots.
Okay, so I just showed the house right there, pictures of it, and then I have a video of James Brock's niece, who is really close to. They grew up like brother and sister. She's on a channel talking about the size of the house, how far apart the rooms are and stuff. So we're gonna watch that once it gets through all the pictures.
It pretty much from the beginning, honestly. I think anybody that hears that she didn't hear gunshots, I think that it's been put out here recently that the house was unusual and the rooms weren't that close, but that's not true. The rooms were very close. The house was small. The bedrooms were all located in one area of the home. And I mean, of course, I'm not out there with a measuring tape, but if I were to guess, between the doorway of Jamie and Kristen's room and Sarah's room, maybe 8 feet.
So the house sat on 1.55 acres. They didn't have any close neighbors or anything. The gunshots would have been extremely loud throughout the entire house. Police have reported that there was no sign of an intruder, a break-in, there was no sign of a struggle, and no weapon was recovered at the scene. Police also report that nothing was taken. So the victims in this case were James Brock, who was 45 years old, and Kristen Brock, who was 41 years old. They had a total of 7 kids. James had 4 sons from a previous relationship, and Kristen had 2 children. James and Kristen went on to have another child. And it's been talked about, that they had like a shaky past or whatever. I just want to point out that no victims are perfect. Like everybody has a past or whatever. So I don't want to hound on that too much, but I do want to say that they turned their life around and they were working really hard to rebuild their family and rebuild their marriage. And James had severe heart failure. He was hooked up to what's called an LVAD. An LVAD is just a machine that keeps your heart pumping, and it has an alarm that goes off on it when there's a problem with the machine or the patient's health. Kristen was James's primary caregiver, and James was waiting on a heart transplant.
So he was not in good health. The stepdad, he wasn't in good health. He was in heart failure and had to be hooked up on a machine. Was he hooked up on a machine 24/7 or just at night when he slept?
I think they put it in him. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a machine that I guess it hooks up to your heart. Yes, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure.
Because she
Like it hooks
said it
up
was
to your heart and
beeping.
it circulates for your heart. Like it helps you circulate your blood around, from what I understand.
Whatever this is, whenever your heart's not, uh, it will set off an alarm if for some reason it's not working correctly, or
If there's a problem with the machine or the patient, it'll set an alarm.
if there's a
So
problem with the machine or the patient, it will set an alarm off. And she said, Sarah Grace said when she went to bed, she thought she heard it, right? She thought she heard the machine going off.
yeah, so what was reported was Sarah, Kristen, and James and the 5-year-old were all at home. Sarah reported that she heard the LVAD alarm going off 15 to 20 minutes before she went to bed, but she said it was faint because it was masked by other noise. On the morning of February 20th, the 5-year-old, the little sister, discovered her parents' bodies shot to death in their bed. The 5-year-old goes and gets Sarah at that time, and Sarah calls 911. Sarah reported she did not hear the gunshots, but according to James's niece, the 5-year-old reported that she had heard the shots the night before. So, you got anything you want to say about that?
Okay, so I looked it up to see what an LVAD is, and while it is like inserted, there's also a piece on the outside, which would make sense because I'm like, if it's not working, how does it alarm? It alarms inside of you, like so. It's a wire that goes in, I guess, on your chest area, and then there's you wear this like almost like suspender type situation that has a little part that you could probably like hook to your belt or something. And I'm assuming that that's the part that when there's a problem with the machine or the patient, that's what starts making the noise. So Sarah says before she went to bed, she heard this noise, but rather than checking, going in the room, she didn't really think much of it, and she went on to bed. And I think you said that she reported once that she didn't hear gunshots, but then she reported that she did.
No. So she reported that she did not hear the gunshots. That all she heard was the machine beeping 15 to 20 minutes before she went to bed. The 5-year-old, the girl who found it, said that, I guess at some point in time, said that she heard gunshots that night or whatever.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Go ahead.
So now the suspect is Sarah Grace Patrick, obviously. She was arrested on July 8th. She's described as very sweet, social, and beautiful, but apparently James had told some of his family members, like, you don't know the real Sarah, implying that she acted differently behind closed doors than she did out in public. I'm going to play a video of her talking about that.
Recent interviews with,
Okay.
with Sarah's side of the family. Do you believe that Sarah is innocent?
No, I do not.
Do you believe that Sarah killed your uncle and his wife, Kristen?
I do.
Wow. Holy crap. I haven't seen that.
These are the victims.
That's the victim and his daughter.
Yeah, that's the little 5-year-old. Here's the
Do you
elevator.
want to pause it or no? Okay.
No, I'm actually trying to catch up because I had like a whole format in my head, but it's off at this point.
Yeah, everything goes awry when I'm live. Sorry. That was her mugshot. She looks a lot different in, like, obviously the pictures that she's posting on her TikTok where she's dressed up, made up, versus when she was arrested.
Was Sarah Grayson that you guys would suspect her? Because we've heard that she was smart, that she was going to go to college and graduate high school and make her family proud, that she was beautiful, that she had her life put together. Are we not seeing the same picture that you guys are seeing of her?
I can't speak a ton of it on her. I wasn't around her a lot, but I'm not here to tell a story. Every time I was around her, she was very sweet. She was very, open to talk to whoever was around. She struck me as a sweet girl. She did. But I didn't live in the home with her. And so, Jamie has said multiple times that you don't know the real Sarah. He didn't go into detail because, to be honest, when he would tell my mom that, she would be like, "Oh, Jamie, you've never raised a teenage girl before," and you're not supposed to think anything more of that. But he said multiple times, she's not the sweet Sarah that you guys see. She's not who she puts online. You don't know the real her.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So statistically, I mean, even though she seemed statistically, though Sarah Grace doesn't really fit in with other females that commit parricide, which is killing both of your parents. Typically, young females that commit parricide, there's some factors and characteristics that they all kind of have. So those factors are typically they're severely abused, extremely antisocial, severely mentally ill. They come from a dysfunctional family where they are exposed to violence, substance abuse, and neglect. There's one thing that could be a motive and a clue about what happened. That factor in Sarah Grace's life is she had a history of conflict with her parents over her behavior. So Sarah had a new boyfriend that was too old for James and Kristen's liking. So her parents did not agree with the age difference, and it was a conflict between them. Sarah's parents had put some rules down about when Sarah could see her boyfriend. So keep this in mind. And now we're going to watch the eulogy, and I guess you have a better version of it where the volume's boosted.
I did put closed captioning on the eulogy because it was pretty hard to understand. And even though I added closed captioning, hopefully it'll be where we can hear it. But this eulogy is like a big deal. A lot of people talked about the eulogy. I mean, if you really think of it from this standpoint, say she did it. Say she unalived her mom and stepdad to get on stage at their church, at their funeral to give a eulogy is wild. If she did it, that's like a whole nother level of like psychopathy, in my opinion, if she did it. If she did not, I mean, that would be brave of her to get up there and give the eulogy. So I have not really watched the eulogy. I hurried up and like did some edits to it and added closed captionings to it a while ago, but I haven't actually watched it. So I am very interested in watching the eulogy. But I did add closed captioning because it was kind of hard to understand. So this is her after allegedly unaliving her mom and stepdad. This is their funeral at the church that they attended, at the church that they went to, at the church that Sarah went to, giving the eulogy.
Daughter and James Brock's stepdaughter. This isn't easy, and I don't know if Fanny and Angie do this all the time, but I'm really happy I get to do this. But just bear with me because I stutter a lot. I just wanted to say goodbye to my mom and Jamie since we never got the chance to. I was so used to you guys always being here to the point that I never once thought to imagine y'all not being here. I didn't have a single clue how much I needed y'all until now. For James, thank you for all the life lessons you taught me and for being the best, funnest dad ever. You Your heart will finally be healed in heaven, and neither of y'all will be in any pain anymore. Although that gives me so much comfort, your fight was not supposed to end there. And for my mother, everything we went through does not define what kind of person or what kind of mother you were. You were a beautiful, kind soul with so much gratitude and so gosh dang strong. And you taught me so many life lessons, and some that you just recently taught me was through a letter you sent to James in 2018. When I first read it, I smiled and I cried, and I got chill bumps. But every single time I read it, it puts me in a lot of peace. So I thought I would share it. May 23rd, 2018, Deuteronomy 6:5. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. The wrong one will find you in peace and leave you in pieces, but the right one will find you in pieces and lead you to peace. We can't always choose the music that life plays for us, but you can choose how we dance to it. She was always dancing to her own beat, LOL. And keep in mind, she wrote that herself. Eventually, all the pieces fall into place, but until then, laugh at the confusion, live for the moment, and know that everything happens for a reason. I can choose to let it define me, confine me, refine me, outshine me, or I can choose to move on and leave it behind me. Always, Kristen Brock. Considering that gave me so much closure, I want to remember them for who they were and not what happened to them, and be happy for the time we got to spend together and not sad about the time that we don't. I may always and will always be her sunshine, but she will always be my star from up above. And I know at nighttime I can go and look at Mama and Jamie in the sky, and gladly they will save me a seat in heaven like they saved for me. I'm sorry. Gladly they will save a seat for me in heaven like they saved a seat for me in this very church. Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people with us today. Therefore, when someone tries to tell you anything, no matter how important it could be, just listen, because you never know when it's somebody's time to go. You could say goodnight and wake up a few hours just to find out they aren't there, despite their joy and their love. So just listen, and never take a hug or anyone or anything for granted, and love with all that you have in you like they did. And lastly, my take on not taking people for granted. I want to thank my family, also known as my cattle fam, my grandparents, my siblings, Ciate, Johnny, Jaden, Jojo, Trent, Tristan, Ashley, and Jesse for helping me get through my worst nightmare. And last but not least, I want to thank Tasha, Bree, Nate, Lane, Kimberly Hayes, Kim Bowling, Katie, and most of all, my father, Angie, and Ben for making such a big difference. Jamie and Mama would have thanked y'all too. I love you guys, and so do I. And so do they. I'm sorry.
All right, so that was a red flag for the family and for the police. It was said 3 things about the eulogy that was reported by the family is Sarah did not cry. There were no physical tears. Like, this is reported by somebody who sat in the front row, and multiple people talked about it. So afterwards, there were no physical tears, but she sounded like she was crying. They said that she was doing like a crying voice, but they never saw any tears. The second point is she finished her eulogy without being overcome by emotion one time, unlike the other people who spoke, who were all overcome by their emotions multiple times. They would have to stop and cry or whatever. Um, it was said that every other speaker had to stop multiple times because they were crying. And the third and last point, is that the eulogy at the end, she said, "I'm sorry." So, what adds a little bit more context to that being an issue is the family member also reported that Sarah walked around the funeral saying, "I'm sorry" to everybody, like catching everybody one on one, telling them she was sorry, which everybody thought was kind of weird because she lost her mom and stepdad, and she was apologizing to people that, they weren't as close to them as a parent child relationship. So everybody thought that was weird. Um, and then the last section I had was like my thoughts. So this is like where we're supposed to talk about everything, like how we feel about it. And I feel like something's off with the case. Like, she does seem like she's guilty. She doesn't really fit in the typical, as far as we know, she doesn't fit in the typical young female that commits parricide like mold or whatever. But she did have this boyfriend that was a conflict. The thing is, though, it took the police 5 months to arrest somebody. And if she, being a 17-year-old child, like how sophisticated could it have been, right?
And two, what did she do with the weapon?
Yeah.
I mean, there was allegedly no guns in the house. Allegedly, they didn't keep guns in the house. However, she allegedly unalived her parents. I mean, I'm guessing she left and got rid of the gun, or maybe there was someone else involved. Because didn't they say that there could be more arrests?
Well, no, the police have not released anything talking about another arrest, right? They haven't said anything about that. The family member said they would not be surprised if there was another arrest. So there's some questions like why the police, it took them 5 months, but then they said they had a mountain of evidence against her. But then they also say that they don't know what the motive was. They're still building the motive. And you would think if they had a mountain of evidence, then they would know at least, a theory about what the motive is. But also the murder weapon. Where did the murder weapon go? How would she have gotten it, and where did it go? I mean, they haven't found one. And then something I was thinking about is like the mold for the typical female that commits parricide. Like there's a new dynamic in in the world we live in today, right? There's this
Fame.
yeah, insane. Like people go crazy trying to do whatever to get fame, publicity, to get a following on social media. So I was just wondering if it's possible that mixed with her boyfriend, right? The rules that her parents were putting down for her boyfriend, on top of it seems like she wants attention and fame, and she wants notoriety, or maybe possibly could that be the motive?
Well, and the reason there's a thought that she wants notoriety or fame is because after her parents were killed, she started contacting creators on TikTok telling them, "Hey, look into the Brock case. My parents were killed, and it's an open investigation. Like, we don't know who did it. Can you please start covering the case?" And people don't know. I mean, people don't know if she was reaching out to creators to bring awareness to this because it was unsolved, and she really wanted to know who, killed her mom and her stepdad, or if it's because she just wanted the case out there for her to get some sort of fame, and if she did end up getting caught, well, she would become infamous, kinda like Gypsy Rose Blanchard almost. So, or like Carly said, because if people covered it, then they would interview her and feel bad for her. And her TikToks was a whole different story, you guys. I have her TikToks. Do you want me to play them, or do you have something to say?
No, no, that's exactly where I was going next. Was she had reached out to multiple creators, and we don't know if that was just her trying to get the case solved, or if she was trying to get her name out there, trying to
Right.
make it blow up. Maybe she thought it was going to blow up bigger than it did. At
What's
first
pretty big
it's
now.
big now, but at first, maybe she thought it was going to take off, and it wasn't. So she was contacting creators. But you have her like her TikToks and all that.
Yeah, here's her TikToks. So and I did a lot of them have music in it, so I did have to remove the music, but you can still hear some where they're talking.
He doesn't know it, but a year from now our family will be torn apart, and I
This
will
is
be far
March
away
1st.
and won't see or talk to him for 5 years.
So this is March 1st. March 3rd. I always think about how much I needed them. March 3rd. I miss you guys so much. So she posts constantly about them after this happened. Don't ever take your family for granted. The voice you once thought was annoying is what you may end up falling asleep to every night, and the only way you can hear it again is over video. It's not good enough. I just want my mama. And then there was a GoFundMe apparently.
Day to you. Yay! Really?
She was 16 when this happened. She's 17 now.
She's being tried as an adult, though.
Yeah, she's being tried as an adult.
Yeah.
So please continue to pray for the family. This is someone else, I guess, made a video and she retweeted it. And then she posted this. Finally got to dance with my mama, just not how I expected. So it looks like they're playing a video of her in church after she passed, and Sarah's recording it, dancing to it, and that's what she meant. Here is hardest part is the fact that it hasn't even been a month yet, and her B day and Mother's Day and my B day is all coming up. You're just thinking it's a small thing that happened. What a picture to post along with your mom passing. A picture, where you're, I don't know, showing so much skin as a 16, 17-year-old. I don't know. Pants rolled down. I just want my mama. Ignore my ugly cries. I can't do this without them or without my mom. Sent into anxiety attack as we enter the parking lot to the church my parents always took me to. I still can't comprehend the fact that I'm never going to get to go home.
So we don't know if these are like, if this is just her way of dealing with it, which is it's weird, right? It's kind of like everybody's like, "What the heck?" We don't know if this is just her way of dealing with it, or if it's her behind it wanting attention. I mean, I don't know. I just think something's really weird with the case. So
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody responds and reacts to trauma different. Some people are the type that they don't talk very much about it. Some people are the type that they would post about it on social media. So it's impossible to really figure out if she was doing this because she just wanted attention from, her mom and stepdad's death that she caused, or if she really was sad and this was her way of dealing with it, was making these posts on her social media pages. I don't know. And that picture of her sitting up in like the mirror, in my opinion, showing too much skin, it might be pretty typical teenager post, but not for my teenager. Like if my teenager is posting pictures like that, at 16, 17 years old, I'm going to take it down. And I'm going to be like, can you please stop? But at this point, I guess her mom's not there to tell her not to do that. Like if you're going to be posting about your deceased parents, like have a little bit of class and don't look like you're in a spread for Playboy. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy crap. Um,
there's it. I mean, you can play that.
what do you mean I can't call my mom? This can't be real. On the way to my parents' funeral. I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't think it's strange. And I am one of those people, I'll say that I am one of those people that I do think it's strange when people take pictures of themselves crying or video themselves crying. I'm like, I don't really get it. I don't understand it. But I mean, we are in the world of social media to where everybody posts everything on social media. So I think it's strange when people take pictures of themselves crying and post it on social media. But a lot of people do it these days. Still doesn't feel real, but it's still real. I don't know. Why me? Yes, Janelle Evans definitely does that. The world ended when it happened to me. And then it says, hardest part is the fact that it hasn't even been over a month yet. And we already read this, is that her mom's B day and Mother's Day and her birthday was coming up. Sorry for the same song twice. I can't get it out of my head. And then this is a video. Please send prayers for healing and a break from everything. I'm so tired. I should probably delete later. In honor of my mom, because she loved Jelly Roll and she loved the song so much that it was played first thing at the funeral. Been through hell. Hallelujah. That's a repeat of what we already saw.
So, a couple other things I want to point out is James, which one of his nicknames, and most people call him Jamie, so you might hear him referred to as Jamie. But he was waiting on a heart transplant. Like could he could very well possibly not make it in the next couple years. I saw the statistics for people put on an LVAD, and it's not good. Like 3 year lifespan is the chances of surviving in 3 years is not that good. So he was waiting on a heart transplant. So I think if people knew that it was very likely he was going to pass away soon, it's kind of crazy to, you know, take his life. But another thing is, so her dad and her grandfather support her 100%, say she's not innocent. So basically, there are people on her side of the family that say she's innocent, and her dad was present while the police were questioning her, and he said that the file looks small, even though they said they had a mountain of evidence. But obviously, I don't think the police are going to tell him or show him everything that they have. Um, I do believe what I really think is I believe that they do have a mountain of evidence against her, and they do know a motive. They just aren't releasing a motive because maybe somebody else is involved, and locking her up, keeping her locked up, scaring her might convince her.
To
They
tell.
might be able to convince her to snitch on the other person for a plea deal or something like that. I think that would be my guess to what's going on. But there was no murder weapon. Nobody broke in. They're out in the country. She claims she didn't hear the shots, everybody wants to go against her about not hearing the shots. But I know here's playing the devil's advocate. Our kids have AirPods in and they're watching movies and they're falling asleep with their AirPods in. Sometimes I gotta yell their name several times or go shake them awake. So she is a teenager. She could have had AirPods in, I guess, but um, it still is highly unlikely that she would not hear those shots.
Or I would feel like, if she went to sleep with AirPods in, she probably still would have heard something. Maybe not at the time thought that it was gunshots. Maybe thought that it was like something falling, or maybe even fireworks down the road or something. I don't know. And then only after getting up and finding them, being like, "Oh crap, that noise! That's what I heard." You know.
The thing is, a gunshot in a 1,900 square foot house is going to be so loud, though. I mean, it's going to be loud. It's
Do they know
a pretty small house.
what kind of gun it was?
No, they don't. I mean, I'm sure they have done the forensics on it,
But they haven't said.
they haven't said.
Okay.
Never shot multiple times each one, so there
Oh
was
wow.
at
Multiple
least
times.
that's what I read multiple times. So there was at least, and there was no sign of a struggle, right? So there was at least what 3 shots, at least probably 4 if both people were shot multiple times. I don't know. I mean, I would think 4 at bare minimum.
Yeah, I mean, no sign of the struggle, no sign of forced entry, nothing taken. So, what would be the purpose of this? Would obviously be somebody with a vendetta against them, who had a vendetta against them.
And then the alarm, was the alarm something that went off relatively often? Was it something he had to do? Did the alarm go off? Was Why would she hear the alarm and not go check on it? It's almost like that's something that happens a lot, right? The alarm goes off, he fixes something, boom, he's back up. But she said she heard the alarm. I don't know.
Or would he have been deceased? Maybe she didn't do it, and they were already dead. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's another question. Like, was the machine going off because he was
Deceased already.
deceased already? Yeah. But that's all I got for the Sarah Grace Patrick case. I guess you got some more.
Here's
Social
just one of
media
her
stuff.
TikToks. She reached out to one TikTok creator that I know. She reached out to her and asked her to cover it, but the creator didn't know nothing about it and was like, "What are you talking about?" And she responded and told her the names, and she was like, "I'm their daughter." Allegedly, allegedly reporting or something like that. I follow her on TikTok. She has a decent size. She has a pretty good size following. This is the 4th of July. When was she arrested, babe?
July 8th.
So that's 4 days before she was arrested. Wow. Okay. And then
Story we first brought you as breaking news on Good Day Atlanta this morning. Fox News' Kevin Stewart joins us live at the Carroll County Jail. And Kevin, we understand the daughter of one of the victims.
Also, I did not make this picture down here with the X's over their face. I did not make that. So I do apologize for whoever put the X's over their face.
Has been charged with the killings.
Yeah, that is the big shocker. The teen daughter is now in custody, charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault. She is here at the county jail being held without bond. In the Taj community just outside of Carrollton, they said this type of violence never happens here. But then it did. And detectives now say it wasn't a stranger, but the female victim's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, now accused of shooting her mother, Christian Brock, and stepfather, James Brock.
We don't know what goes through the mind of a child who wants to harm their parents.
In fact, investigators confirm Patrick is the one who called 911 after her little sister, only 5 years old at the time, found their parent shot to death back on February 20th. Nearly 5 months later, deputies tell reporters a trail of evidence led the case to the 17-year-old.
She's 17. She's kind of been out on her own. She's lived with different family members and kind of moved all over the place.
This woman, Jody, did not want her face shown, is a neighbor and friend of the family, including the suspect.
I hugged her and I told her that I was so sorry.
She feels betrayed.
I kept watching the funeral over and over when she was up there talking. I said, there's something about her. To me, she was fake crying.
You should know her biological father turned her in Tuesday morning.
Our team has pursued every lead, sifted through mountains of physical and digital evidence, conducted countless interviews, and collaborated with agencies such as the FBI, the GBI Crime Lab.
There's no official word of motive, problems in the home, or prior calls to the home on the teen suspect. But Jody claims the mother shared what was going on inside this home.
All she said was Sarah Grace was bucking her because she didn't want to be there. She wanted to live with her daddy.
Investigators are, for now, happy to have an arrest as the justice system tries to make sense of this.
I believe, according to his family, he had a lot of heart trouble. He'd had numerous heart surgeries. I believe he may have been waiting on a heart transplant at some point. And to have his life cut short, that's a big takeaway from this story. And that a mother and a stepfather will never be able to raise their children.
And investigators say they continue to chase some chatter on social media, and they're not ruling out more arrests. Reporting live from Carroll County, Kevin Stewart, Fox 5 News.
Just so shocking. Kevin, thanks.
So, yeah, they're not ruling out more arrests. I wanted to find that full press release that she did just to see, because her dad took her to turn herself in. Did they have a warrant? Did she know they were coming for her? I mean, she was ultimately arrested when she turned herself in, but she obviously knew that they were about to arrest her.
Yeah, so they called her in for questioning the day before. And,
okay.
She went in. They questioned her with her dad present, and he said that he asked them if she was under arrest because he could obviously tell the questions were starting to get geared towards them looking at her
as a suspect.
And before they left, the investigators actually started throwing pictures of her dead parents down in front of her, and the father shut the interview down, and then the next day she was arrested. So
she turned herself in, though.
Well, yeah, she turned.
There was a warrant, obviously.
Yeah, there was a. They contacted him and said if she didn't turn herself in, then there was going to be a bench warrant put out, and they were going to send the federal marshals after her or something like that.
Oh wow!
So he said that she wasn't turning herself in; she was just complying. That's what he said. So
Do you know if they've released the probable cause affidavit? Not that I've heard.
you can pull up that timeline that he sent me and see if that. I mean, I don't think so. I really think that they're trying to while she gets that in order. I really think that they're trying to scare her. I
Scare
don't
her
think they
into.
have a lot of evidence, and I think they're trying to scare her into cooperating and telling them what happened.
All right.
So
So early 2023, James Brock suffering from serious heart failure, using an LVAD device to keep his heart functioning. The mom, who was 41, described as caring, involved parent, handling the majority of the household responsibilities. Sarah, born 2007, attending high school, active online, literally born the same year as my son. 5-year-old half sister, unidentified, living in the same house. James undergoes multiple heart procedures and is reportedly on a transplant list. His heart places significant pressure on the household, with Kristen being the primary caregiver for both James and the children. Mid to late 2024. Unconfirmed accounts from people close to the family suggest increased tension between Sarah and her parents, especially as Sarah enters age 16. According to those who knew the family, Sarah became more active on TikTok and began sharing vague, emotional, and cryptic content. Sarah reportedly struggles with boundaries, according to social media acquaintances. A few family friends described her as being distant and increasingly oppositional towards her mother. The fall of 2024, Kristen allegedly confides in at least one friend that she is stressed at home, dealing with both James's medical issues and conflict with Sarah. There is no known record of police involvement or CPS investigations prior to the murder. The family maintained a low public profile. December 24, January 25, Sarah posts emotionally charged videos on TikTok referencing trauma, instability, or loss, some of which were later deleted. According to a now deleted post from a peer, Sarah referenced her parents dying in vague, unsettling language. These posts do not appear to have been flagged or reported at the time. Wow. Around this time, Kristen allegedly tells a friend that Sarah is becoming harder to reach emotionally, though she still doesn't express fear. February 1st to the 19th, in 2 weeks leading up to the murder, Sarah continues posting on social media. She allegedly speaks with at least one person, later revealed to be a TikTok creator, Kelly Brown, and hints at emotional distress at home. There's no public signs of an imminent threat. James's LVAD is reportedly functioning, though he continues to experience medical complications. Kristen remains the primary caretaker. February 19, 2025, Sarah, Kristen, James, and the 5-year-old sister are all reportedly home. According to Sarah's later statement to Kelly Brown, she hears James's LVAD alarm 10 to 20 minutes before going to bed, but claims it was faint and masked by other noise. No 911 calls or signs of struggles are reported prior to the next morning. The morning, 6-year-old half sister runs in, sees them. Shortly after, Sarah calls the cops. March 1st, this is March 1st. Okay. Sarah begins posting emotional TikToks grieving her parents, including a post on March 1st referencing the tragedy and forecasting grief over the next year. These grief videos, viewed with suspicion by investigators, are later connected to her active TikTok account, which has since been removed. March 8th, Sarah delivers a public eulogy for her parents at Catalyst Church in Carrollton. The tearful yet scripted tone of the speech, including the word sorry, draws scrutiny from law enforcement and family members. March 19th, Sarah Grace Patrick posts a message under her father's account. It's Sarah. I post a lot of TikToks about my mom. My username is SSarahGrace04282. They're emotional, but just know I'm okay and have a good support system. April 24th, Sarah Grace Patrick graduated from high school. June 3rd, Sarah messages true crime influencer allegedly reportedly asking them to look up the Brock case and suggesting media coverage. July 2nd, Sarah's ex-boyfriend, Jackson Spaulding, was arrested on charges not related to Sarah's crime.
there were other creators that reported that she messaged them too.
Yes. July 8th, 1:53 p.m., after a months-long investigation gathering mountains of physical and digital evidence with assistance from the FBI and the GBI, an arrest warrant was issued. Sarah, now 17, voluntarily turns herself in, accompanied by her biological father, to Carrollton County Jail. July 9th through the 11th. She's formally charged as an adult with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. So there was no signs of forced entry. Nothing appears to be stolen. The motive remains unknown. Additional arrests are not ruled out. Sarah is being held in custody, either without bail. Sarah's father released a statement. My daughter is 100% innocent. If you want to talk to anybody about me and my daughter's relationship, come straight to me. I'm not hiding. I'm going to work and doing all the normal things I have to do to support my son. Nobody knows my pain, but I choose to deal with it the way I have to. I don't want all the attention like everybody else. February 21st, I had to come home and tell my son that his mother and stepdad were dead. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. She had a son that lived with his dad. She had a son. Okay, so she had a son that lived with her ex, his dad. So the son lived with the dad, but allegedly Sarah wanted to, but she wouldn't let her.
I don't know if it's so much she wouldn't let her. I know her dad was actually living with somebody else, and I'm not sure his living arrangements were like the best at the moment. From what I gather, I could be wrong about that, but I think
Okay.
he just got done with another divorce, and so I'm not sure.
Okay. Law enforcement describes the probe as active, emphasizing large volumes of evidence and the possibility of further apprehensions. Observers raised concerns about the emotionally charged social media presence and public expressions of grief, which some interpret as insincere or calculated. We're not going to go over the background, but here is the arrest warrant.
What's crazy is I grew up right next to that town, pretty much.
Affidavit for arrest. That's crazy. Personally come to Lieutenant Richard Harrison, who on oath says that to the best of his knowledge and belief, Sarah Grace Patrick did in Carrollton County commit the offense of murder 16-5-1 felony between the hours of blank and 1:37 on the 20th day of February 2025. The place of the occurrence, it gives the address. Said offense being described as a person commits the offense of murder when in the commission of a felony cause the cause of death of another human being irrespective of malice. To wit, Sarah Grace Patrick committed the said offense during the act of aggravated assault against Kristen Brock, resulting in her death. This offense is a felony and occurred in Carrollton County, Georgia. And this is the same one for are all of these for Kristen? No, that's James.
What I saw was James and then Kristen. Right
That's
below.
Kristen right here.
Or maybe it was
And then
Kristen
James again.
Yeah. So,
And then another one for Kristen. Aggravated assault.
Yeah, that's all the different charges.
Yeah. So here's just the affidavits for the different charges. Aggravated assault.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really thinking that that the profile for people who do these kind of things is going to start changing because of the internet, because of TikTok, because of fame. I'm sure they can hear me just fine.
Oh, maybe.
I think they've been able to the whole time.
Well, I had it right here when you started talking, so I didn't know.
Keep moving the mic back and forth. I think they're good. I mean, have y'all struggled to hear me? Y'all probably struggle to understand me, but I think y'all can hear me.
Sounds like they have enough evidence for the probable cause warrant and didn't go to the grand jury. Yeah, I guess not.
What are all those documents down there?
Certificate of service. I really don't know what they would have had to serve her with.
I don't know. I guess that's the we'll kick your door in paper.
Entry of appearance?
I don't know.
I don't know what that is. So they have the certificate of service, Sarah Patrick, Entry of appearance, notice of defense election procedure. I don't really know what that is. Notice of defendant's election to proceed under official code of Georgia annotated section. Yeah, I really don't know what any of that means, but we're not attorneys, so we don't know. But yeah, so that's the case of Sarah Grace Patrick. Like I said, one of my friends lives in Carrollton, and she reached out to me right after the girls arrested, and she was like, you need to cover this. This is going to be a big deal." So I told Sean because I just haven't had time to cover it, and he started digging into it to really figure out what was going on, and this is the most that I mean, he's been able to find out as much as is really out there. But we'll keep up with it. We'll post here. He'll post here.
I recorded it like 20 times, so just me, and I never could get it right. I was trying to record it in the house,
Where the kids are.
the kids, the dog, and I mean, it just so eventually we decided to go live with it.
Wish we could get a better video of her giving the eulogy. Just a better video so I could kind of try to see if I could read anything on her body language because y'all know I'm studying that.
That's what I was thinking. I wanted you to. I forgot about that. I wanted you to watch the eulogy and try to do some body language.
You can't really see her that much, and the words are not aligned with her body movements. So that's a big thing because one thing that you look for when they speak is like deviating from their baseline, right? But and they will usually do it on certain words. I would be curious to hear if she's in talking about it, if she has said things like them passing rather than them being murdered. Because that is one thing is people they will psychologically distance themselves from the act. They don't like to say the act. They don't like uh the video on any. Yeah, I haven't been able to find any good. I mean, Sean said that was the best that he could find. But like a lot of times when people murder somebody and they're being questioned, they won't say, "I didn't kill them." They'll like Casey Anthony. "I didn't hurt my daughter." Nobody's accusing you of hurting your daughter. You've been accused of killing your daughter, but they will psychologically distance themselves from. They won't even say it. So I would love to know, like in the months since this has happened, or however long it's been, has she said things about her parents being murdered, or is it just like, oh, them passing away? They're gone, you know?
So that channel that I pulled clips from, I think it's called Hidden True Crime. I had the title up on that video, but that's a long interview with that woman who is James's niece, but they grew up like brother and sister, so they're close in age and they grew up in the same house together, so they were really close. And she tells from her family, their family's perspective, and they pretty much all think that Sarah's guilty. They don't, and then she also says in there she's not going to say any names, but some of Kristen's family also feels the same way. So it's worth checking out. It's actually pretty interesting. I enjoyed watching the. I was interested in the interview the whole time. So
Also, I would like to hear the 911 call too. Any like body cam footage of when they put her in cuffs and took her for booking, anything that I could really like watch her really good. I would like to just to see if I could pick up on anything. And listen, I finished my second module in Joe Navarro's body language. I still have 9, and there's like 22 lessons in each module. So I've finished my second module in that one. Um, so I'm getting there. I'm getting there, you guys. But I would have loved to like it would have been cool if she would have did an interview. Like if allegedly reported would have had her on for an interview, that would have given us something to kind of go off of to really kind of examine that. I did watch Emily Baker earlier today. She went over Brian Koberger's hearing, but I just listened. I didn't watch. But when I ended it, when I clicked off of it, I looked up and I seen him on the seen him up there, and I thought, man, I really should have watched that to try to see if I could read anything with him, but I just haven't had time. I really haven't had time. I'm just trying to get caught up on my stuff. A Sky Full of Stars is off topic, but you and Sean work really well together. Thank you. Oh, thank you. We're going to go ahead. We're going to end this one out. It's 9:53. We will continue to keep up with this case, you guys. So as more comes out, if a probable cause affidavit comes out, we will hop on here. We'll read it, go over it with you guys. Also, tomorrow, isn't it tomorrow, Nat, that Brian Koberger's sentencing hearing is tomorrow? Because I contemplated going live on here. However, I know Emily D. Baker's going to be live, so there's really no point in me going live when she's live. So, may not do that. May just watch hers. I may post some clips on this channel. I don't know. But yeah, you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it if you guys want to, because we are definitely below board. YouTube's not going to be really promoting this at this point because we've not posted that much on here. So we are trying to get back to where we're posting enough to where we can kind of get back above board with this channel. You guys leave me your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this Emily Gray story. Do you guys think that she's innocent? Do you guys think that she's guilty?
Do you think somebody else is involved? Because I do.
Yeah, do you think somebody else is involved? And if so, who? What do you think she did with the murder weapon? Leave me your thoughts. We'll continue to keep up with this case. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.